Hi guys, welcome to the channel. In this video, we're breaking down Clevatess, the king of magical beasts, the baby, and the corpse hero. If you like these kinds of story recaps, make sure to like, subscribe, and support the channel. Let's get started. Alicia grew up with big dreams. As a kid, she loved sitting with her dad, Margot, listening to his stories about the dark lands, creepy, dangerous, and filled with adventure. Those stories shaped her entire life, making her want to become a real adventurer someday. But when she reached adulthood, everything changed. Margot was killed in an attack, leaving her heartbroken and alone, yet she refused to give up on the dream he inspired. Years later, the royal family of Hayden gathered 13 heroes to defeat the Demon King, Clevatess, and Alicia finally got her chance to step into a real adventure. She joined the team with hope and determination, ready to prove herself. But the mission went terribly wrong. The heroes were overwhelmed, taken down one by one, and despite giving it her all, even Alicia couldn't escape the fate that awaited them. After wiping out the heroes, Clevatess didn't stop. He invaded Hayden, crushed the kingdom in seconds, and even killed the king. But in the middle of the ruins, a dying boy begged him to protect a baby, and for some wild reason, Clevatess actually agreed. He brought Alicia back using an immortality curse, not out of kindness, more like forcing her into eternal service, and handed the baby to her. He even suggested she breastfeed the kid, which obviously wasn't happening, so they hired a wet nurse and paid her with arcanicides. Clevatess then disguised himself as a human named Clin, named the baby Luna, and started traveling with Alicia. Over time, Alicia grew attached to Luna and noticed strange signs that this wasn't a normal baby. Eventually she realized Luna was actually royalty. Before they could figure out what to do next, bandits captured them. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a man named Fabio discovered the ugly truth. Hayden's king had been provoking the Dark Lands, and now other kingdoms were hungry for Hayden's arcanicides. Back with the bandits, Clin finally admits something big. When he's in his human form, his power is heavily weakened, and he plans to stay that way until Luna grows up and becomes the new sovereign. Alicia then realizes their situation is way worse than they thought. The group who caught them isn't just some random bandit gang, but part of a huge slave trading organization called the Crows. The Crows separate everyone. Alicia is dragged to meet their leader, Rocco, and his troll pet, Betty, while Clin gets tossed into kitchen duty. There, he meets Nell, a slave girl, and Karma. Rocco tries to force Alicia to reveal where her fallen teammates hid their weapons, but she refuses no matter how much he threatens her. Meanwhile, Nell secretly breastfeeds baby Luna to keep her alive, but when the Crows discover it, they punish her brutally. Clin snaps, kills the attackers, and offers Nell a safe job as Luna's wet nurse, but she refuses, still terrified from everything she's endured. Alicia gets thrown into a deadly mine crawling with Urvinces, monsters hiding in the dark, and she quickly learns the Crows are hunting for the regalia, a legendary sword once used by the hero Cord and rumored to be somewhere inside. As if that's not enough, a blind bandit named Fleeto threatens her, pushing Alicia into a corner. With no real options left, she goes for the craziest move possible. She grabs a bunch of bandits and throws herself off a massive drop, relying on the immortality curse to keep her alive. The bandits assume she's dead and climb down to check, only to find her still alive and very done with their nonsense. Through their cursed link, Clin updates her about Nell's situation, and Alicia's first response is basically, "Let's wipe out every bandit here." But Clin stops her, saying she has to finish the fight herself. When the bandits realize Alicia is somehow still alive, they totally freak out. Using everything her dad taught her, she pushes them back and even turns the whole situation around. She literally yeets a few panicking bandits into the pit to bait out the Urvinces. Then she jumped right in after them to grab the regalia, the legendary sword, waiting all the way at the bottom. Meanwhile in the kitchen, Nell asks Karma about her past and wonders what it would be like to be in the outside world, considering she has always been there since she was little. But Karma shuts it down. Broco overhears everything, especially the part about Luna being there, and snaps. He drags Nell deep into the tunnels and straight up feeds her to Betty as punishment. But when Clint shows up, Betty suddenly freaks out at the sight of him and spits Nell back out instead of attacking. Clint rescues both Nell and Luna, but a desperate Broco uses mind control magic to force Betty to fight, even though she's clearly terrified and doesn't want to. Even though Alicia literally can't die, hitting the bottom of the mine still knocks the wind out of her. But she powers through, grabs the regalia, Cord's legendary sword, and immediately comes face to face with yet another nightmare creature, the Ancient One. When she finally climbs back to the surface, she's done playing nice. She refuses to help the bandits and just leaves them to get eaten by the Irvinsis. Outside, Clint takes down Betty the troll, but he's annoyed that Alicia never mentioned the bandits were using mind control magic. Meanwhile, Broco tries to run off with baby Luna, but Nell, barely alive, grabs him and slows him long enough to ruin his getaway. Realizing Luna is the only thing keeping Clint from going full berserker mode, Alicia rushes off to find her. When she catches up, Broco is holding the baby hostage, threatening to hurt her. Alicia yeets the regalia into a wall to bluff him into thinking she doesn't care about the sword, but he's not buying it. He wants every hero weapon, and Luna's royal blood makes her his jackpot. He tries to vanish using invisibility magic, but Alicia can still hear him, and Luna. She tracks the sound and takes him out. After that, Clint tries to heal Nell, but there's a catch, his magic can only save one person at a time. Without hesitation, Alicia sacrifices herself so Nell can live. Somehow, both survive, Alicia revives again, and Nell is fully healed. Clint even gives her a new nickname, Naluru. Wanting to stay under the radar, he seals the regalia away but promises Alicia she can summon it anytime. Naluru suddenly shows off crazy strength, casually carrying supplies, and Luna. While Alicia finally gets real weapons and armor. Suddenly, the group gets jumped by a guy named Gart, but before things get bloody, Clint stops the fight and realizes Gart wasn't even after them, he was hunting Broco. Once everyone stops trying to murder each other, Clint drops the real bomb, Gart isn't human at all. He's a dark beast in human form, working under another demon king named Zothier. Alicia is stunned, she thought dark beasts were rare, but Clint explains only a handful can talk or shapeshift. Then Gart shares the nightmare news. Zothier is thinking about wiping out humans because the crows have been kidnapping young dark beasts and selling them to a mercenary group led by Vraco. Karma had already hinted at this, and Alicia jumps in with her own info about wizards and a man named Darrell, the same one who killed her father. Meanwhile, somewhere else on the battlefield, General Rod gets a report from his officer McCallum about their fight with Darrell's army. And Darrell, now aware that baby Luna exists, sends a man named Maynard to go bring her back. After Gart heads off, Alicia's group finally takes a breather. Alicia explains to Clint that Darrell is trying to take over Hayden and they need to stop him. Clint immediately shifts back into his full Demon King form and flies out to handle it himself. Meanwhile, Rod is still locked in battle with Darrell's army, watched from a distance by Fabio. Alicia, Luna, and Naluru travel to a nearby town, passing former crows being publicly tortured, but they don't get involved and keep moving. They stop at an inn run by Carl and her sons, Peto and Phil, who don't trust strangers at all. But the break doesn't last. Maynard tracks them down and summons massive insects to surround the entire town. He storms the inn, demanding they hand over Luna. At the same time, Naluru is ambushed by Nae, a wizard working under Bullet, throwing her into her own deadly fight. Clint keeps pushing forward on his journey, Totally unaware that back in town, Nae is trying to test Luna's power with some weird magical candy. Alicia tries to step in, but Maynard blocks her, until Naluru, now way stronger than before, jumps in and saves Luna. Alicia ends up fighting off Maynard's swarm of giant bugs, and the trio barely escapes. Nae wants to chase them, but the bugs literally get in her way. While Alicia's group is suddenly labeled fugitives, the war between Darrell and General Rod gets even more intense. Rod puts up a solid fight but eventually goes down, though Darrell spares him. Clint shows up right after, calling Darrell out for kidnapping human and monster babies. He even manages to stab Darrell, but Darrell traps him in a magical prison and hides his soul inside his sword. Now Alicia, Naluru, and Luna are on the run, hunted by both the townsfolk and Maynard's forces. Cornered inside an old watermill, Alicia's group looks done for, until Phil and Pito's parents stop their sons from burning the place down. Their father, Mark, steps up and talks to Alicia directly. When he learns she once fought Clevatess, he realizes she's not some monster and warns her about how dangerous the Dark Lands really are. Once he's sure she means no harm, he convinces the villagers to back off and even helps her group slip away. But Maynard immediately strikes him down the moment they step outside. With the villagers trapped inside the mill, Alicia is forced to hold off Maynard's swarm of venomous insects alone, getting poisoned in the process. Maynard unleashes a massive scorpion that smashes Alicia straight into the river. And things go from bad to nightmare when a swarm of giant larvae pours in, eating everything before morphing into giant moths. Alicia drags herself back out, but the venom is tearing through her, slowing her down fast. Just when it looks like she's done for, Clint summons the regalia, and Alicia grabs the legendary sword. With one final surge, she tears through the bugs and takes down Maynard. Nae is left frozen in shock as Clint suddenly reappears, somehow escaping Darrell's prison. But he brings terrible news: Darrell isn't acting alone, another Demon King is backing him. Meanwhile, in the ruins of Hayden, Princess Tala is saving whoever she can while searching for her missing son. Fabio arrives with a warning that Darrell is on his way and that Clevatess might be imprisoned. With no time left, Tala steels herself as Darrell marches toward Hayden for the final battle. Alicia's group regroups just in time for Phil and Peter to drag in a captured Nae. Alicia and Clint question her, and Clint casually drops the bomb that the Clint Darrell trapped earlier was just a decoy. Nae finally spills everything. The moment she finishes talking, she tries to bolt, but Alicia and Clint totally saw it coming and snag her immediately. As punishment, they make her levitate their wagon, basically turning her into magical transportation. After saying goodbye to the villagers, they head for Hayden, only to find the kingdom already collapsing. Darrell is fighting Princess Tala and her troops, and he's absolutely destroying them. Alicia jumps straight into the chaos to stall him while Clint rushes Luna and Naluru toward the hidden forge. When they arrive, Fabio and his soldiers are guarding the entrance, but Clint silently drags them into the shadows to clear the path. Standing before the ancient seal, Clint begins using Luna's power to unlock the forge. Gart finally tracks down the prison holding Clevatess. Rod shows up, fills him in on Darrell's whole plan, and asks for backup. Gart agrees, but not without threatening to kill Rod if he steps out of line. Meanwhile in Hayden, Clint climbs in through the chimney like it's no big deal. At the same time, Naluru was knocked unconscious by King Hayden, who turned out to be still alive. Who steals Luna and reveals himself to Clint. And while all this chaos is happening, Alicia is still locked in a brutal fight against Darrell. She keeps coming back thanks to her immortality, but Darrell decides to drop the biggest bomb of all, the truth about what really happened in the past. 25 years ago, Darrell and Alicia's father, Margot, were actually partners. After a duel, Margot won a regalia sword from the king. Later, Their party went up against a Darklands dragon, and everyone died except Margot and Darrell. With no other options, Margot handed the regalia to him. Darrell killed the dragon. But the sword absorbed the dragon's soul and summoned a demon king, twisting Darrell from the inside out. Back in the present, after telling this whole story, Darrell shows just how far gone he is by summoning an undead dragon, blasting Alicia off a cliff, and heading straight for the forge. Alicia survives, again, and tries to warn Clint, but he's got an even bigger problem on his hands. The king is seconds away from throwing Luna into the forge. Tala suddenly shows up and corners Alicia, demanding to know what really happened to the heroes. Alicia finally tells her the truth, she was the only one who survived. When Tala asks where her missing son is, Alicia drops the real bomb: he's alive, and he's actually Luna. The king uses Luna to open it, but Clint jumps in to stop him. The king spills everything, every king of Hayden gets tossed into the forge and resurrected as a mindless puppet, and Luna, whose real name is Toth, is next in line. He drops Luna into the forge, only to realize Clint swapped him with a shadow clone. The king hurls himself into the forge instead, trying to drag Clint and Luna down with him. And then the entire forge just explodes. Darrell shows up not long after the forge blows, but Rod and Gart jump him right away. Darrell still crushes them, until Alicia arrives. She and Rod pull off a clever move and actually manage to kill him. Only for Darrell to pop right back up, stronger and angrier than before. In the chaos, Clint stumbles across a strange book, the Book of Toa. Turns out it created the forge, manipulated Hayden's kings, and even pushed the heroes into attacking Clevatess years ago. After seeing how cursed everything is, Clint decides he's done with this mess and wants to leave Luna with Tala and just go home. But Alicia stops him and tells him to really look at Luna. When Clint sees the baby's soft purple glow, he freezes. Meanwhile, Niluru saves Alicia, and while Alicia still can't beat Darrell head-on, she manages to shatter his sword. Without it, Darrell's body immediately collapses in a gruesome, instant death. Alicia freaks out for a moment, thinking Borden, the real demon king behind everything, might show up next. But Clint appears with Luna in his arms and calmly tells her that won't happen. Tala arrives right after, sees Luna, and instantly recognizes him as her son. And the kid walks straight into his mother's arms. Rod heads off to spread the news of Darrell's defeat, while Clint quietly slips the Book of Toa into his pocket. Then a salamander messenger from Borden shows up to warn Clint of the consequences of what he's done, but Clint just shrugs it off like it's not his problem anymore. With Darrell finally gone, the remaining enemy soldiers, and even Nai, either surrender or run for their lives. As Alicia gets patched up, Clint fills her in on what he learned from the Book of Toa and hints there might be more books like it hidden somewhere. Fabio leads everyone to the throne room, where Tala personally thanks Alicia, Clint, and Niluru for saving Hayden. Niluru nervously expects Tala to hate her, but the queen is genuinely thankful she kept Luna safe. Before everyone parts ways, Clint makes one last request: he wants to become Luna's magic teacher. Alicia instantly realizes what that means: she's going to have to help him stay undercover. And she's absolutely mortified about it. That's it for Clevatess, the king of magical beasts, the baby, and the corpse hero. Thanks so much for watching and sticking with me through this wild adventure. If you enjoyed the recap, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment about what anime you want me to cover next. Your support really helps the channel grow, so thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.